Julie, your wealth word is limitless. Tell us a little bit about how you came out with that one.
I think the word limitless is very endless, it's infinite, it's no boundaries. It doesn't say it has to be this much and then that's it. It's just without limits. And when we talk, or when I talk about wealth, for me, yes, of course, money is one form of wealth, and that's very important because that gives us choices and freedom and security, which is the opposite of freedom sometimes. It's an interesting oxymoron, isn't it? I want to be free and I want to feel secure. So, wealth in terms of your health, which for me is the base camp, that is the biggest gift and the biggest blessing, because without our health, anything else that we try to do in our business, in our life, in our relationships is really, really hard. We all know if you're having a really bad day, you don't get an awful lot of stuff done. So it's the wealth in our health, which is the first, in our relationships, our relationship with ourselves, with others, with nature, with the community, with the universe, with the cosmos kind of thing. Those rich experiences, through travel, through learning, through growth, through community. And having a purpose, for me, if you wake up with a purpose, you're very wealthy. If you know why you're getting out of bed, you know why you're making certain decisions, and it's fueled by a purpose and passion. To me, I think that's very rich. I say I'm super, super rich because of all the experiences I've had, the travel, the highs, the lows, the plateaus, the good stuff, the not so good, the heartbreaking stuff, the pull your hair out, oh, cry stuff that just prove that we're human. I just feel that the more emotions that we experience across the day, the more life we're actually experiencing instead of just being, it's like, wow, wow. It's just, and naming those experiences as well. If you feel sad, what's the opposite? It's feeling joyful. What brings me joy? So that's that emotional regulation. So I think self-awareness is a wealth. It's a skill that if you really know yourself and can be self-aware and self-regulate, I feel this, so you're naming it, and then you can tame it, and you can feel it, and then you can heal it. I think it's just that to me is being wealthy, to know yourself, to be socially intelligent, have strong social connections, to have rich experiences, rich relationships, and lots of money so you can do whatever you want to do. Money is energy. And I think, whatever, you've heard as a child, like you have to work hard for your money. Money doesn't grow on trees. I've got friends that are financial advisors, wealth coaches, and they have, little magnets saying, I love money, money loves me. And I think, of course, money gives us freedom to make those choices. It allows us to contribute to causes, to our family, to help. So it's definitely part of the wealth mix. But if you ask me, do you want $1 million, but you're going to be sick in hospital? Or do you want, just to earn what you earn and be super vibrantly healthy? I'll be super vibrantly healthy, please, you know? So I think it's just getting that balance, isn't it, really, of a little bit of everything so that you feel you can live a full and fulfilling life.
And on the note of finances, you have been able to blend the two things that you love, like starting your travel company, being an author, or some of your milestones of things that you've done. How have you found that for yourself that, wow, I could actually do the things I love and have that abundant life and
Yeah,
some money?
exactly. Yeah, it's that kind of that corny thing like follow your bliss, and there's an Arab proverb in this region that is throw your heart out in front of you, then run to catch it. So it's the same as, it's almost around that ikigai, your purpose, what do I love doing? What am I good at? What are my strengths and what would people pay me to do kind of thing. So you think, well, I love speaking, as you can probably tell. I've only recently, over the last probably 10 years, discovered that I really like writing and have produced two bestsellers, which my English teacher in school would go, what, Julie? No, I don't think so. I'm going, yeah. So, I mean, she's up in heaven probably looking down thinking, wow, that's a surprise. And My background's in sports science because I'm a very physical person. I'm very grounded. I'm very connected to my body. I do a lot that embodies that basically. And it's only really over the last kind of 10 years, I would say, that I've got more connected to my emotions, to my spiritual well-being, which is really my values, my emotional priorities, my purpose, my mission. It's got nothing to do with going to church 5 times a day or anything like that. I think spirituality and religion are quite different and they're both important. I think realizing that I love walking, I love swimming, I love kayaking, I love being in nature, I love traveling. Oh, I wonder if anybody else would love doing that with me and pay to come with me. 22 years ago, I climbed a mountain for my 40th birthday. I'd had a kind of a personal tragedy when my husband of 7 years collapsed to the floor and never got back up again with a heart aneurysm. I think sometimes in life, things that really kind of knock you off your path, this canvas, this life that you planned out, and all of a sudden, like say, wipe that clean, and all of a sudden it's like, now what? So my now what was, I'll go and climb a mountain. Really bizarre, really, and very random. So standing on top of that mountain on Kota Kinabalu in Malaysia at 4,095 meters on the 7th of April 2002 at 5:30 in the morning, I literally had my arms outstretched. I had tears running down my eyes, but they were tears of kind of relief and joy and pride. It wasn't sadness. There's different types of tears, and they were definitely relief, joy, and like, oh, I found myself again. Julie's back. I'm on a mountain, I'm on a natural high, and it was like boom, like a soul tap saying, start a business called Mountain High and take other women around the globe. And they don't have to have had a major life challenge. It's just really stepping out of what we know into the unknown and actually finding out more about yourself and discovering your real strengths. For me to be able to do that and start a business 21 years ago and still be doing it at 62 is very, very exciting. So, I mean, hopefully it inspires other women and men at whatever age and stage they are, that it's never too early and it's never too late to do something that really boosts you. Because when you feel happy, people around you say, I want some of that. I want to come. I mean, all the guys, when their wives or partners came back from one of the trips, because in the early days it was women only, now it's open to anybody, they would say, what did you do to my girlfriend? What did you do to my wife? I said, I didn't do anything. Ask Mother Nature, she was out there being herself. She wasn't a wife, she wasn't a mother, she wasn't a daughter. She was just a woman in nature and had time to think and breathe and laugh and cry and actually just experience more of life. Yeah. So that's what I've done.
And it's so incredible. I mean, you have a boldness, a grit, je ne sais quoi about you with your experiences and your richness of relationships.
Mm.
What is your secret? Where did this come from?
I think I love people and I love places. Nature is a huge source of inspiration for me. It's my food, it's my oxygen, it's my medicine. And I was in a 2-day gladiator summit, a huge conference at the World Trade Center. I was a speaker on the second day. The first day, there was 2,000 people in this big room, lights, music, and a lot of people. And I was at the end of the day, I was thinking, I need to go and walk on the beach. I need to swim in the sea. I need to actually, re-regulate my nervous system. So I find that nature for me is a huge source of energy, as is music. I love music. My parents paid for me to have singing, guitar, piano, all of those, but I just wanted to run and jump and climb trees and everything. And when I sing, people leave the gym. But I do have a niece who sings and people listen. So there is a singer in the family. But I like music. I think we can put some music on and it can change our energy automatically the minute we start moving. If there's some good music on, I cannot sit still. And I think anybody that sits still is like, is something wrong with you? How can you not move to something like this? So, we all have our anchors, we all have our energy sources, whether that's cycling, swimming, reading, speaking, jumping up and down, raving in the desert, listening to music, playing with kids, taking the dog for a walk. It's whatever gives you energy. What brings you joy will give you energy as well.
If you were to give advice to someone who are looking for their limitlessness, and whether it's financial, whether it's personal, whether it's something else, what advice would you give?
Know what brings you joy. Who brings you joy? What brings you joy? Where do you feel most alive? What are you doing? Who are you with? What can you hear? And I think to me, I mean, it was even one of the chapters in my first book. What brings you joy gives you energy. And when you've got energy, you're limitless, you're vibrant, you're coming from a heart space, and everybody wants that. So then, people will be drawn to you, resources will be drawn to you, finances will be drawn to you. So you just become this beacon of light and love and energy and good vibrations, let's say, or frequency. You attract what you're thinking about, that the whole secret law of attraction. You create what you're thinking. What you're thinking and the decisions you make today create your tomorrow. So if you're choosing to do things, and I say choose, and you love to do things, then that just magnifies absolutely everything, to be happy no matter what. And I think that's a big one, because we don't always feel happy, but it's a fleeting second. You can say, okay, I don't feel so great right now. What could I do that makes me feel really great? I could go for a walk. I could go for a swim. I could put that favorite soundtrack on. I could savor a green tea. I could call up one of my friends and say, tell me a joke. All of these simple things, hang out with kids. They always come up with crackers. And I love animals. I don't have pets because it would be irresponsible, because I travel a lot. But I'm the resident dog walker in the village. Given to me, I'll take them for a walk. Yeah.
Hello, Sylvia Torstein here on this amazing episode of Women's Health, Wealth, and Happiness Interviews and to Inspire. Are you not absolutely loving Julie? She is amazing. The things that she's done, swimming the English Channel, climbing the tallest mountains, Arctic to the Antarctic, and then she's a non-stop author, speaker, explorer. Oh, she's after my own heart because, I love traveling. But listen to those words, vibrant in her health. You know what's vibrant in my health? There's greenery all around me right now. Limitless of wealth? Well, you know what? There's a wealth of rain dropping all around me here on this isle. A joyful happiness, because, there's nothing better. Because finding the joy in the rain when you're on the isle, it's just beautiful. Because I'm a traveler. She's a traveler. We're all travelers. But you know what you have to do next? Hit that subscribe button right here. Women's Health, Wealth, and Happiness. Then you know what you've got to do next? Hit that subscribe button to Sylvia Torstein because you love me. Happy touring!
Stay tuned and watch part 3 to learn about the happiness word for this interview. Subscribe and click the link below to find out about bonus tracks and how to join our community.